Good morning, folks. It is race day. We are in Central Oregon, near Bend, at a little town called Sisters. And look at that. That's the Three Sisters. Today we are doing the Cascade Gravel Grinder. This is one of Breakaway Promotions Chad Sperry's events. He does the Oregon Trail Gravel Grinder and the Gorge Gravel Grinder. Oregon Trail is where I first raced Cameron Jones, who won Unbound yesterday. Congrats, Cam. He beat me at Oregon Trail, just a few, in case you were wondering. But not by much, but just like 2.5 hours or something like that. Today we're gonna race and let's see how it goes. Let's have some fun. There's Bad Chad trying to last minute details for Bad Chad. Let's go, Bad Chad. There he is. Hey. What's up, Michael? Are you doing the medium? The medium. Thank you. Yeah, what do you think? Which one are you doing? I'm gonna do the small. You too, man. Oh, that's a little inside joke between me and Michael Brown.
Cascade,
We've probably raced each
gravel.
other, I don't know,
3,
30 times. Guess how many times I've beat him?
0.
0. So I was glad that we weren't doing the same distance today. So that was
a great ride,
kind of
ladies and gentlemen. Have fun, be safe, stay hydrated, eat some food, visit those aid stations. Have a beautiful time in this beautiful area of the Cascades as you say goodbye to Sisters, and we'll welcome you back this afternoon. 6, 5.
All right, so
4,
here's the start of
3,
the small
2,
grinder
1.
race. This race was really only like 41 miles and about 3,000 feet of climbing. The medium grinder course was like 61 miles and 5,000 feet. The big grinder course was 92 miles and 8,000 feet or something like that. I chose to do the small grinder course because I don't have to make excuses. I do what I want. That's why. I don't know. I just decided I wanted to do the small grinder course. I like doing the small. I suffered plenty out there in the 2.5 hours I was racing. This was the start of our race. There was about 130 people in the small grinder course, so of course I lined up right at the front. And I just stayed. There was a couple neutral miles and some miles on pavement before we hit the gravel here, and the whole group was more or less together. The guy waved the flag for the race to start and nobody attacked. We all just kind of stayed and sat on. But this is where we hit the gravel, just like within 3 miles. Most of the rest of this course was on gravel, and we take this left turn onto this, it wasn't really a gravel road, it was more like a pumice road. It was kind of soft and sandy and kind of, it was difficult. It was also like 1.5% uphill, so it wasn't really flat. It was just kind of like this false flat. But we kind of hit it right when it got a little difficult right here. And this is my teammate right next to me, Ed Dudlick, and my other teammate, Tom Counts, right in front of him. And those guys kind of went to the front, and so we kind of sat on here as much as we could. It was pretty rough and sandy, and after about 2 minutes, I turned around to see how many people were in our group, and there were only 10 of us. So out of that 130, it whittled down immediately when we hit this harder road, and the 10 of us kind of rolled away from here. From here, it got a little bit tricky. It wasn't really that steep, but kind of difficult riding. This is Juliet Hochman right next to me. I've raced her a whole bunch. She is a 45 plus woman who lives in Hood River, and she does these, she's really a triathlete and a triathlon coach, a very excellent one. But she likes to do these gravel events, the small gravel events. The road took another left, and it got on this very chunky, difficult road. And this again was slightly uphill, and lots of big rocks and lots of big chunks and some soft sandy sections. And this guy right here, he's the actual eventual race winner, But on the softer stuff and the chunkier stuff, I was just a little bit faster than him. And so this section was roughly like 1.5 miles long with some big chunky stuff before it turned into a regular gravel road. And me and my teammate Ed Dudlick just kind of tried to put some time into everybody. There was a point here, there's me and Ed kind of trying to put time in everybody. Ed kind of turfed one spot just a little bit, so I ended up getting up the road a little bit farther ahead of everybody else and was actually in the lead here for a bit. That's the lead moto who was taking us along. But of course, it's as soon as we came out on that road, there was another like 2.5 miles of climbing, and I got caught immediately by like two other people. Ed passed me, and that eventual winner passed me right there. But you get to the top, and it started to do this beautiful, gorgeous descent. This section right here, I actually shot this the day before. This was not during race day on my course check. But there was this screaming downhill descent again. It was very rough. Big rocks, soft sandy spots. And of course, there's the leader right there, and I caught him on this descent. And right ahead of him is my teammate Ed Dudlick, who won this race last year. And I eventually caught Ed as well. And the two of us kind of tried to work together on this descent to try to put some time into this guy who we had just passed, because we could tell he was climbing really well. And it got rough. It was very washboardy. I made a bit of a mistake right here. I brought 2 bottles on this course. I did not wear a hydration pack. I decided that a 2.5-hour race, I'd be okay with just 2 bottles. And right there in this really washboardy, bouncy section, I ejected one of the bottles and lost it. So I ended up only having 1 bottle here, which very much came back to haunt me because I ended up dealing with pretty severe cramps in the last hour of the race. And of course I did. I had 1 freaking bottle. And so it was a bit of an issue, but here we are at the end of this descent, and Ed and I are taking the right turn onto the next climb. This climb was roughly 4.5 miles long, and me and Ed are in the lead here at this point, and we are trying to see how much time that we put into the Team Oregon rider who ends up winning the race. And there's the lead moto going past us, giving us the thumbs up. And here's where we realized we only put like 20 seconds into it. It really wasn't that far. So, of course, he ended up catching us.
Grind it out, Ed. Make it work. Let's go.
I was trying to encourage Ed there a little bit as he started to climb away from me. He's a faster climber than me for sure. I get to the top of the climb. There was an aid station here. My teammate Tom Counts was catching me, but I had to stop and fill this bottle. There were still 15 miles to go or something like that, and I needed water. This dude was being helpful, trying to give me a time split.
4+ minutes to lead.
4 minutes? I'm not going to make that up on the descent? Okay, so I knew I was sitting in 4th at this point. There were 3 guys that got up ahead of me. My teammate Tom Counts, who is generally a faster climber than me. I just managed to get over the top of the climb just about 10 seconds ahead of him. And so he just could not catch me on the descents. And I ended up finishing just about a minute ahead of him. There were still some tricky sections. This was not one of them right here, but this is only a couple miles from the finish. But there was a very chunky, kind of difficult, rattly section of a short descent here, and then a flat, pothole-filled gravel road that took us to the finish line. And so this is the final part of the downhill section. Yeah, this part isn't sped up at all. This is just, I was trying to hold off my teammate Tom. He was trying to catch me, and so I was trying to put a dig in to stay ahead of him. And that's the sign that says 3K to go, so just a couple miles to go. And here we are at the finish. Way to go, Lance. There's the timing dude who gave me the high five. We've seen each other in a lot of races.
Good job, bud.
There's Ed, who finished about 4 minutes
good.
ahead of me. I did not
wasn't
catch
sure how
him.
well those two
That
guys
was
were.
not gonna happen. Here's Tom finishing up his race just behind me. So in the Masters
Good job,
division, I ended up
Tom.
winning. Tom was about a minute behind
job, buddy.
him, and Ed's neighbor, Craig, was just a couple minutes behind Tom. So we had a pretty good time. This is the overall results. You can see Ed Dudlick was in third. I was fourth. Tom was
All I
fifth.
thought was,
Out of that 130 people,
I've got
and
to
that
have a
Samuel
little gap
Gradenas
over the
was
top
the
of this
Team
hill.
Oregon rider, and
go ahead, like
the other guy, I don't know what team he was on, but we ended up third, fourth, and fifth in the small
3, 4,
grinder.
5 in the short. That's not too bad, but that was a rattly, rough course.
So that was a pretty good day for us. Well done. You come into the finish line area, they have food and music, and we stuck around and waited for the podiums. There's Tom and his adorable little doggy. And we eventually
number 2 spot, hailing from Vancouver,
the podium
Washington,
finally
riding
came
for
around.
Team Dialed
So,
Cycling, Tom
kind of funny,
Counts.
the announcer did hear that I do have a bit of a nickname, and Colleen, who works for Breakaway Promotions, told the announcer what my nickname is, and so he announced it. I'll just let you listen to it.
And your small Cascade gravel champion with a time of 2 hours, 37 minutes, 20 seconds, hailing from Vancouver, Washington, also riding for Team Dialed Cycling, Lance freaking Hepler. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your small gravel Masters Men 45 to 59 winners and your champion Lance freaking Hepler.
All right, thanks everybody for watching. Chad Sperry puts on these fantastic events. He gives out a patch when you finish one. You can see I have 6 Gorge gravel grinder patches, 3 Cascade gravel grinder patches, and 3 Oregon Trail gravel grinder patches. So I've done
I guess I like Chad Sperry's events.
a lot of his events. Way to go, Chad. Hey, thanks for watching.